If you don't know who I am, I'm Christy, and I'm the CEO at She Corporated. And She Corporated is where we help. Oops, I got windows popping up here. Is where we help women entrepreneurs build and scale their business with a simple step-by-step framework. We've got a community of fellow women founders. It's free to join. You can find that on our website, shecorporated.com. You'll see a link there. And we've got incredible tools like mentoring groups and business kickstart challenges and all sorts of really cool stuff. I'll mention a few of the tools in a second here too that you can get for free. And our goal is really to get rid of the overwhelm and the uncertainty of building and growing a business and really make it simple with a simple, clear path forward. That's our ultimate goal with everything that we do. So I come to you live every single week in this group. Anyway, I come in every week and I do lives about different topics on building your business. So if there's topics that you would like to see me come on here and talk about, and it can be anything from marketing to strategy, to starting a business, all of those things I can help with. So if you'd like to see a specific live that you haven't seen me do yet, drop it in the comments and tag me, and I can have a look at it. And if there's enough people that want to see that same topic, we'll put it on the roster, and I'll do it in one of the upcoming weeks. So free tools, we've got some really cool free tools. If you have not seen the magazine yet, I got a copy of it here. I do. We've got a magazine for women founders, She Corporated magazine. It's all women founders, and it's all topics that relate to women entrepreneurs, from health and lifestyle to fashion to marketing and branding and finance, all of those things. So it's free. You can get it here. I'll drop the link in the chat so you can go get a subscription to it. We'll deliver it right to your inbox. But you can go to that page there. I've just dropped it in the chat, and you can check out the current issue. And it's a really good issue. Actually, it just dropped a couple of days ago. So check that out. We're also taking contributors. So if you are a woman founder, I'm assuming you are because you're in this group, and you have something to talk about in an article that's of value to other women founders, then go to that link that I just dropped in the comments, and there's a application button there to become a contributor, and you can do that as well. Okay, so that's cool. That's free. Also, the podcast, the One Step Empire podcast, you can get it anywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, it's on all the platforms. And it's called One Step Empire Podcast. The first season, we talked about building your business from zero to launch in one step per week. And then this season, we've got a lot of women founders coming on from various fields, giving us their real zone of genius expertise. So you can check that out as well. And we've got a new tool. And this is going to help you with our topic today. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat for you as well. And this is free too. It's all free. It's all winning today. It is, here we go. It is the Bootstrappers Guide to Big Marketing on a Small Budget. So this is a guide with, I think, 23 different ways to market your business for free or nearly free. It's really great. It's not hacks. It's solid marketing strategies that just don't cost a lot. So that's free, and I just popped the link there in the chat so that you can go and download that. All right, perfect. So we've got people from all different places, and what you'll know with all of the presentations that I do, with all of the live sessions that I do, for the most part, they are for anyone in any industry. So we're not just talking about online businesses. We're not just talking about coaches. These are solid marketing and business building strategies that are the foundation for any business. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. These are going to relate to you in some way or another. So this week, we are setting up your online ecosystem and building your audience through social media and other platforms. So this is when you start introducing your business to the world. Now, if you're just getting started, these are great tips to get you started off on the right foot. If you already have a website and you already have social media, this is great information for you to take and go back, excuse me, and look at your current pieces of the puzzle, your website, your social media, and say, okay, am I actually doing this? Do I need to tweak it? All right, so keep that in mind as we go through. So the first piece of the puzzle in your online presence is your website. It is your anchor. It is the first place people will generally go to check your company out. They may see you on social media. They will probably go over to your website and see who you are. Make sure you're legit, see what you're about. So it's really important to get it right. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, excuse me, it doesn't matter what products or services you sell, you need a professional looking website. Now that doesn't mean that it needs to be complicated or that it needs to be expensive, because you can build it yourself in a weekend. I built one the other day, literally in an afternoon. It can be simple. It can be, easy to do, easy to build. It can be one page, but it has to look professional. It has to appeal to your ideal customer. So you need to make sure you're using the right images, the right setup, the right layout. It needs to send the right message to that target customer, and it needs to be easy to navigate and find the information that they need on it. And this is a really important one. We talked about last week with you doing your customer journey and stepping back and experience things as a customer. Your website is a really critical place to do that because you built it or you had a hand in building it. So you know how it all works. You know where all the things are. You really need to step outside of that and imagine you're visiting it for the first time, somebody that knows nothing about you or your company. Can they find the things that they need? Does it make sense to them? Does it tell them what your company does? Does it tell them what your brand is all about, right? Somebody who's never been there before, it's really important to take that step back and imagine yourself just visiting it for the first time and really experiencing it like your customers do. Okay, so again, even if you never sell a thing through your actual website, your prospective investors, customers, partners, they're all going to check out your site and you really want to impress them with a professional looking product. So the first step to getting your online address is registering your chosen domain site. And you can do that like GoDaddy, register.com, domains, Google. This is going to be your address to call home on the web. Make sure it's simple, easy to understand if you can. The shorter the better, because if somebody hears it, you want them to be able to remember it and type it in. So keep it simple and make sure that it really reflects what your business is about. You may want to work with a web designer. You may choose to build your own site. It's easier and easier all the time to build your own site. There's user-friendly like WordPress. Shopify is fantastic, easy to build, super cheap. And Shopify is known for e-commerce, actually selling things online, but I've used it for all sorts of different businesses where it's just an easy website to build and we weren't actually selling anything online, but it looks great. It's easy to use. And the nice thing about Shopify is because it's such a huge provider that almost everything integrates with Shopify. Almost every email platform will work with Shopify. They have tons of free plugins that are available to do different things on your site. So there's things like that. You can even do the free builder through GoDaddy where you register your site. So lots of different ways to do it that you can do it yourself as well. Or if it's more complicated or it's just not your jam or you don't want to do it, you can certainly use a web designer as well. Sites like Kajabi as well are really easy. It's a little more expensive, actually quite a bit more expensive than Shopify. But there's specialized providers too for every industry. So do a bit of research. See what people in your industry recommend for the type of site you need, because depending on whether you're doing a membership or you're doing coaching or you just have a brick and mortar, there might be different sites that are more useful for you than others, and they change all the time. So some tips for building a great company website. First of all, you need to plan it. So start by looking at competitor sites and see how they're set up and why they might be that way. You don't want to copy their site. You always want to be yourself and do your own thing, but there may be reasons that they do things a certain way. So it's worth checking out their sites and seeing what they look like. You also want to look at their sites so that you don't look like them, right? So that you don't accidentally look very similar to a competitor, and you know how to set yourself apart and really give yourself your own space in the online space. So look at your competitors' sites, see how they're set up, and see why they might be set up that way. And then take note of sites from other industries that you really like and what appeals to you about them. So if you on a site and you're like, oh, this is great, or oh, I love this site, why? Is it a lot of white space? Do you like the images? Do you like the way the navigation is set up? What is it about that site that you really like? Make some notes on that as well. And then if you can take some notes from sites with companies with a similar brand feel to yours. So they may not be in the same industry at all, but they have that same feel. So let's say you like really white and simple and modern, like Apple, right? That's kind of the brand feel you're going for. Go look at the Apple sites and see what they do and how they create that feeling, and make some notes of that as well. If you're having somebody design your site for you, I would make a list of 5 or 6 sites that you can show your web developer to really get across what you are looking for in your design. It really helps if they can visually see and navigate through rather than trying to describe it to them. Whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're having a web designer do it, start by sketching out the template for your site. So you want to include the general layout and feel for the homepage. You want to map out what your headers are going to be, right? So you're going to have an About Me page, maybe you're going to have a Contact Us page. What are the different pages that you want to have? And then what are the sub pages or the drop-down menu from each of those top menus, perhaps? just map that all out. What are you going to want to have in the footer of your site? Do you want to have a contact us? Do you want to have a little bit of information? Do you want to have, what is it that you want to have on the footer, on the header? And again, if you're not sure, if you're like, oh, I've never even thought about that, go back to some other sites that you like, see how they're laid out, and that's going to give you some ideas for your own as well. And if you've got a site already, go back to your site, pretend you know nothing about it, and look at it and say, okay, what should I really have in this spot? If I was on this site for the first time and I thought, oh, this is really cool, how do I get in touch with them? Where would I automatically go? Because that's where you want to have that information so that they can get in touch with you. Have lots of calls to action on the page, have phone numbers, or, book a meeting, or, find our location, whatever it is they have to do for your business. Make that all really easy to find. You're going to want to have elements like maybe maps, reviews. If you've got testimonials, make sure you're including those on your site. Social media links for sure. And on some pages like Shopify, it's very easy to put a social media feed. So it'll actually show your latest Instagram posts on the bottom of the page. Blog pages, any other features that you're going to want to have that site, have it all mapped out. Okay. And then make sure the site is search engine optimized, so it shows up in the search results. So again, you want to use lots of keywords, do some keyword research, find out what your target market is talking about, how they discuss the problem that you're solving, what words they use, and make sure that you're using those in your site as well. Another one that we really don't do enough is to check our site on other devices. So you want to make sure that your site is optimized for mobile devices. And not just Apple, you want to check Android. If you've got an Android, get a friend that's got an Apple phone and check it on there. You want to check it on different web browsers. Just because it looks great on yours, it might not look great on others. And there are some tools that you can use online that will do that. They'll also check the loading speed for your website. And I'll pop those in the comments afterwards. Actually, I can copy and paste them in there, and they're free. And you can actually just put in your web address and it will go to your site and it will check it and it will see how fast it loads and it will tell you whether that's good, bad, or otherwise. As far as the site design, keep it clean and simple. The visual clutter generally drives visitors away. Make sure you have a terms of use agreement and a privacy policy on the page. If you are running ads like Facebook ads, they will require that. You can get your ads actually will be rejected if Facebook doesn't have that terms of use agreement on your page. So that's important as well. And just really make sure that it's easy for visitors to navigate it, to contact you, to buy your product. So when you visit that site, pretending that you're not yourself, pretending that you're a customer visiting for the first time, is it clear what you do, right? They open that page and it's like, oh, she coaches so-and-so, or they sell this, right? You want it to be really clear what you do, and you want it to be in line with your branding, and you want it to be really easy for them to find the information they need. So if your customers, they come on your site and they're looking for information on, I don't know, vacuum cleaners. I need to vacuum the floor. That's why it just came in my head. Vacuum cleaners. Can they find your product information for that item, right? If they're coming to your site because you're driving them there and they want to find out what's the best coffee to order at your coffee shop, make sure that there's something on the homepage that's really cool that's going to lead them to that information. And then you can actually collect their information, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But the most important tip is to test, and test some more. So when you're putting that website together, especially if you're doing it yourself, test every link and every button. Browse through the site, imagine yourself as a new customer trying to find that information, and click on every single link. Make sure it goes where you wanted it to go. Make sure that it's opening in a new window if it's supposed to. Really make sure, and that goes with everything that you set up with your, the emails that you send out, everything that you do. You always want to test it first. Test all the links. Make sure everything's operating properly, because you can go for months and years with something not working properly and no one ever telling you. You've really got to test that yourself. Very important. Okay, so once you have that site built, you need to get people to visit it. So let's start driving some traffic to your website. So honestly, entire books and year-long courses are written on this one topic alone. So we're not going to have time to get too deep into this, but the key ways to drive traffic to your website, there's really only 4. The first one is to build a solid site with good search engine optimization, keywords, that sort of thing, quick load times, and really high quality original content. That's number 1. Number 2 is to create a social media following and drive them to your site with lead magnets, offers, and calls to action, which you're going to talk about in just a second. The number 3 way is to, and this is in no particular order, everything works differently for different businesses, is paid traffic. So we're talking about paid ads from like Google AdWords, Facebook ads, etc. That's the third way to drive traffic to your site. And then the 4th way is to get links to your site from other high quality sites. So whether that's affiliate partners, whether that's people sharing your link on their site, whatever that happens to be, that's another way. There's a few other small ways to do it, but those are really the 4 main ways that you're going to get traffic to your site. So if you know what your target audience is, you should have a good idea of what social media they use and where they hang out online. And really that is the foundation for anything you're going to do in marketing. So if you have not sat down yet and figured out who your ideal buyers are and really drawn out like those buyer personas where you get very specific about who they are, what they do, how old they are, where they live, what their life is like, what their challenges are, what social media platforms they use, then take a step back and do that. And if you go to the site, if you go to shecorporated.com and you go to free downloads, we have a buyer personas workbook that will walk you through that, and it'll help you find your ideal client and really get to know them so that you are talking to them in your marketing like somebody that you know. You're really connecting with them. That's step number 1 in any marketing that you're going to do. So if you haven't done that yet, go and do that. And then once you know that, okay, hey, my audience is on Facebook and Instagram. They're not on Twitter. They're not on LinkedIn. So I need to focus on Facebook and Instagram. Just pick 1 or 2 platforms, honestly, to stop the overwhelm, because you cannot do it all, especially when you're first starting out. You can't be in all the places. You're just going to burn yourself out. So focus on the 1 or 2 platforms where your ideal clients are going to be hanging out. Okay, that's where you're going to start. And then identify what name you want to use, hopefully as close as you can get to your business name, and then you want to register your username on those social media platforms. I suggest, even if there's other platforms that you're not going to focus on from the start. So let's say you start out and you say, okay, I know my people are on Facebook and Instagram. That's what I'm going to start with. They are also on Pinterest and they are also on TikTok. I'm not going to focus on those right now. But go ahead and register your username on those platforms so that you have them for later. Put up a couple of posts, so that you've got that site. You don't need to build it right now, but then you can have the same username across all of the platforms, and it makes it so much easier when you're sharing your social media. You can say, just follow me at Shecorporated, which is what we have. And it's the same on every single platform, rather than, okay, on Facebook, I'm at Shecorporated, on Instagram, I'm this thing, on, so much more complicated. And it also stops copycats. Assuming your business grows to some enormous empire, which I know that it will, you want to make sure that you've protected those usernames so somebody doesn't copycat you on another platform. So register it anywhere you think your users are going to be, but really focus on just 1 or 2 to start building. There are thousands, literally thousands, and I'm sure you know this, of courses on how to grow your social media following. And the strategies change and the algorithms change all the time. So what I would suggest is that you decide which platforms your people are on, which platform you want to focus on, and then you find a short course, even one that's just a few hours, on social media strategy. And I know there's lots of free stuff out there, but honestly, if that is your platform and that's something that you need to focus on to grow, I would get a paid course, because you're going to get way more content that's actually going to move you forward. Not quick hacks, not quick strategies. You want, how do I build this? And in most cases, that's going to be a short, and they're not terribly expensive. I know Jenna Kutcher, Gold Digger Podcast, does a lot of them. I know Amy Porterfield does some of them, and they have ones that are specific to the platform. So if Pinterest is what you're going all in on, then maybe you get Jenna Kutcher's Pinterest training. But there are a lot of courses, and every single platform is different as far as the strategies to build them. So whatever your platform is, I suggest you get a short course for that platform and really learn how to use it and how to maximize it, because it changes all the time. But you really want to be doing it effectively and not doing a little bit of this here and a little bit of that there. One thing that does apply to all platforms is to make it manageable. So it is very difficult, and you probably know this already if you've got your social media up and running. It is really hard to manually post to multiple platforms multiple times a day, and keep up with it and stay consistent and have a life and not be tied to your phone all the time. It's next to impossible. So Get a content scheduler. You can actually do it from Canva. You can pre-schedule in Facebook in some places. If you're using multiple platforms, it's nice to use something like Later or Hootsuite. And you can actually put all of your media in, you can write all your posts, and you can schedule them out for weeks at a time. Later, I don't know about Hootsuite. I think they have a fairly decent free level. Later has a great free level. We use the paid one because it has lots more analytics and stuff in it, but the free level on Later is fantastic. So find a social media scheduler that you like, that works really well with the platforms that you use, and use it, because it is a game changer. It will make you much more consistent on social media, which is great, which helps you grow, and it's going to save your sanity. So definitely have a scheduling tool for sure. You do need to be in your social media, whatever your platform is. You need to be in there. You need to be interacting, because the algorithm knows that you're in there, and that you're liking other people's posts, and you're commenting, and you're talking to people, and that helps boost everything. But you don't want to be in there all day. You got a business to run. You got stuff to do, right? So you want to plan that. Plan your time so that you're in there, and then get out for sure. All right, and the last thing that I want to mention here before we run out of time, once you have this set up, once you have your site set up, once you have your social media going, the really key thing that you need to do with both of those is start collecting people's emails. The email list is where your money's at. You could have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people following you on social media. Those people belong to Facebook or TikTok. They don't belong to you. They are not part of your community until you get them into your email list. Because if your account got locked, if Facebook put you in jail and you couldn't even access your account, if they shut down, if one of these guys went out of business, they shut down, you have no way to contact those people. They're gone. You've just lost them all. So right from the start, or right now, if you're not doing it yet, you need to start converting those followers to email subscribers, because once they're on your email list, you have a way to contact them directly. You don't have to worry about algorithms. You don't have to worry about them not being able to access your content or it not showing up in their feed. You can contact them directly. That is an asset in your business. So honestly, I think we need to do an entire live just on email building. But very quickly, if you're not doing this yet, you want to have a lead magnet. That can be something that they download. That could be a video that they watch, they sign up to watch. Whatever it is, it's something that gives them a reason to give you their email address, so that you then have that line of communication, and then you can start building that relationship with them, right? You can start giving them value, making them part of your community, and building that relationship. And you need to be posting that lead magnet on your social media or anywhere else you can advertise it. If you've got a brick and mortar business, it might be having them sign up for special VIP discounts. That might be your lead magnet. You get their information, you send them special discounts, you send them, sneak previews of things, whatever it happens to be. But you want to get that email so you can build that relationship with them. And then that's an asset in your business, and you can communicate with them directly. Okay. And then after you have those emails, you have to start using them. So many people say, oh, I have emails, I'm doing great. Well, okay, now what are we doing with those emails? So you want to have a welcome sequence so that you're saying hello and you're introducing yourself. And then you want to be reaching out on a regular basis. And maybe that's once a month. If you're just starting out and you're doing it all yourself, you don't need to send out weekly emails. Let's say it's once a month. Whatever it is for you, make sure that you're reaching out and you're giving your community value, so that you're building that relationship and they want to stay in touch with you and they want to stay on that list. Okay, so that's your action item for this week. So I want you to map out your site, or go test your site and map out any tweaks that you need to make, and then get collecting emails. So put a pop-up on your site so that you're getting people's emails addresses. Start posting a lead magnet on your social media. Make sure you're starting to get people's email addresses so you can build those relationships. So thank you so much for being here. We'll post the link in the chat as well. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you have an amazing Friday, and then an amazing weekend. And I'll see you back here next Friday. Take care.